Hello and welcome back to Variegated Vocalizations, where we talk about Bokuben for the second time. We promised we'd be back when it ended, and it is ended. Or has it? I'm your host here, okay, with...
I'm Fang.
Alright, so, let's talk about the ending. And by let's talk about the ending, I mean, well, I'm pumped. I got everything that I wanted.
Oh yeah, I mean the first out of 5 endings.
Ah, man, the cat's out of the thing, and if you're listening to a Bokuben podcast, I'm sure you know the cat's out of the bag already. Yeah, it's just ending 1 of 5, and it's best girl, in my opinion. So, like, people have thought that was rushed, but I really didn't see it. Like, we got 10 chapters, and I feel like it was satisfying.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it it showed the backstory with, Narayuki and Uruka. So, I really enjoyed that, and it really tied them together really I mean, as if they weren't already.
Yeah, like, my thoughts, like, full disclosure, she was my favorite from the beginning. I couldn't stand Fumino or Rizu until later in the story, because at first they were both completely insufferable in my opinion. But Uruka was the reason why I was like, as soon as I was like chapter 4, I was like, oh, I'm in. This girl's great. She should be the best. Like, she should be the heroine for sure, and she was. And honestly, the whole, like, yes, it was very cheesy and cliche of, "Hey, you're going away," like, at graduation, and everyone came together to help him get to her. Very classic Hollywood, all that stuff. But the confession and the, "Hey, I like you," the first kiss, and, like, that embrace, like, technically speaking, that's where I think the so this is where it really gets into the 5 different endings thing. I genuinely think that this is the true canonical route, not just because of my bias. I'm actually looking at this objectively. Um, so there was backlash, and we'll get to that later. And the backlash could have played a part in this, even though we'll discuss this later. I don't think it was the backlash, but like I said, more on that later. But even without the backlash, it just feel like this feels very conclusive, and the other ones are being presented as what if stories. And especially since the branching point was was chapter 69, so it's a matter of they're not going to like, so at most they're going to get between 4 to 10 chapters to fill out the rest. So I don't think anyone's getting 10, like, all 10 chapters. At best, it's going to be another, like, at worst, it will be 2 chapters per girl so that, like, it can be fit into another volume. At best, I can see it being 4 or 5 so that it can be 2 more volumes, split between each girl. But even then, they're going to jump through, like, but regardless, they're going to jump through time versus Uraraka's, unless Susui does some really crazy time shenanigans. It's just not going to be it's just not going to be as cohesive. And that plus the final chapter that we just got, chapter 50, it felt more like a general epilogue for everything, and like, where, because everyone was given importance, you saw everyone one last time, you was like, oh, what are they doing now a few months after the end of what are they doing a few months after. So that's personally why I think this is the canon.
So yeah, since they're rewinding back to that festival, it'd be kind of weird if they uh redid like some of that character development, like with Fumino and her dad, or Rizu and her grandma kind of stuff. So I definitely agree that I don't think they I don't think they'll get more than a volume, or that'd be kind of that's a bit more a lot. So um but yeah, the final
Well,
chapter does feel conclusive in that way. Everyone gets their spotlight, and then there's the Uruka at the end.
So here's my thoughts. To be fair, they definitely are not going to give everyone a so this is how I could see, well, because like I said, like 2 to 10 chapters, but 10 is very unlikely because to give every girl a volume, that just means Asumi and Rizu aren't going, like, that's volumes that just aren't going to sell.
True. That makes sense if you when you put it in that perspective as well.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. Because if you do 2 chapters, that's all of them in one volume. Hey, we sold one more. We sold one more volume. Suckers. Versus the way that like the routes that they're doing. They're doing Rizu, Fumino, Asumi, Sensei. So like they could do 2 girls for 2 volumes, or all the girls in one volume, like balance someone like a high seller versus with a low seller. It's just
Hmm.
business.
True. Yeah. They ought to do that.
But yeah, back to what you were saying earlier. Like that's what I mean. It's like the branch points aren't like chapter 69. Nice, haha, funny number. But also it could be at 140 right before Uraka confesses.
Yeah, I also thought about that too. So I think that's also a valid point because that covers pretty much all the characters, all their arcs, and then right after the exam. So um,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
it's just really a matter of how they tackle it. It's just, unless they give everyone 10 chapters, in which case, more power to them. I'm personally happy because, um, oh boy. Like I said, we were going to discuss. Well, I'm sure that we've more or less said our thoughts on this. Can I just launch into reception, or is there anything else that you want to say on this matter?
Mm, no, but I guess if anyone was hoping for any other girls aside from the main heroines, it I'm sorry to say it's just gonna be the other main girls.
Oh yeah, we needed a little sister route, but so
Ah,
But yeah, so that's our take on this. I truly think this is the canon route. Uh, but we can't say. However, the reception. Oh boy, the reception. So wars are never fun for everyone.
oh, definitely not. But I mean, hopefully people are satisfied at least that each of the girls are getting their own route, or maybe they're not.
So, and then for full disclosure, and in case you need a refresher, my order from best to worst girl was Uraka, Asumi, Fumino, and then I was of the mindset that Rizu and then Sensei, because Rizu, she has Sekijo, and then Sensei is, well, older. So those
Mm,
were my thoughts, where it's like if there's only going to be one, they're not going to do her, despite her being the most popular.
yep.
What were your thoughts again before we launch into this? Just
Mine was basically the same as yours. I just switched Asumi and Uruka because of my bias.
yeah, so it's so speaking of which, I could see them potentially giving all like grouping the other three, Asumi, Fumino, Rizu in one volume, and then potentially giving Sensei her own 10 chapters. Like that's the only way I could see them doing that. I could
Uh,
not see them doing that for, all of them, because Jump wouldn't allow it.
I I'd like 10 chapters of Asumi. That'd
I,
be pretty nice.
I wouldn't mind 10 chapters of Asumi, but we'll see how it goes. But Asumi, I think, was dead last. So
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
but yeah, it really is a matter of how it really is a matter of how he plays it going forward. That because like if he does do 10 for each one, it's like, because yes, he was like all of them, because like all of them are equally valid. It's up to the reader to decide the canon route. But if there's going to be discrepancies in the amount of end chapters you get, it's very obvious the clear bias. Well, not bias, but the intended route, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's the amount of, like, I don't know what you'd say, uh, angst in his, like in Naruyuki's decision with Uruka. I can't, maybe Asumi's the closest that he'd have those kind of thoughts, but I can't really think about him going to those kind of lengths like he did with Uruka, with the others, at least, unless it's Asumi, but yeah.
Well, okay, that's definitely your bias right there because he does care about all of them, and like we have to remember that he knew Uraka for longer than he knew all the other girls put together, like point blank. Period. He literally did not know any of them before this year,
Yep.
and which is why they were able to do the flashback style of yeah, this is how we're ending it. Like, well, because yeah, people were upset about that. But then again, people were upset about literally everything for the waifu wars, and I'm not sure how it was for like other places, but at least America through Reddit, like just I am a terrible person who loves salt, and trust me, there was a ton of salt. There still is a ton of salt because now people are like, well, it's meaningless to do all of the endings like that.
Wow. I thought I thought they'd just be satisfied with, you know, their favorite girl gets a spotlight.
Well, some people like some people are satisfied, some people aren't. My favorite is the people going, well, the Uraka fans are salty now because it's like, oh, she gets the worst and rushed route, and I'm like, no, I don't think it was rushed. I, it's just your perception, your biases. But hey, it is what it is. I'm happy. I'm not going to stop reading the manga because I'm, it's a matter of, hey, I'm personally okay with this. Like I always was okay with it. I feel like people were overreact. Well, no, people were overreacting because yes, I can understand being invested in fictional characters, but they're fictional characters. Like at the end of the day, this really doesn't matter. You shouldn't be sending death threats. And like, here's the thing: people were calling Susui a hack and all that, and my thoughts are he's not a hack if you're invested enough to do a 180. Like I was kind of thinking about memeing on people, but I decided against it because it's not worth the effort, and I'm better than that.
Yeah, I think that uh with in regards to uh get it just, having other roots, I just like the manga itself, so I'm just happy that it's just gonna be more chapters.
Mhm. But yeah, what do you think of how people were like being very entitled and everything? Uncalled
Uh
for, right?
yeah, I mean, I saw like a reply he made in English. It was to someone, but they deleted their tweet. So I don't know what that person was talking about, but he kind of laid it out pretty harshly in the beginning, like saying like this is my work and this is what I kind of, and it's up to me what I can do and whatnot. But then he ends it pretty softly saying that, and um I don't know, if we're able to meet in this world and we can agree on it or something, then everything's beautiful. Uh, he's pretty nice in that regard, but yeah, I mean, I think some people just feel too entitled
Oh yeah,
over
definitely.
over this.
Yeah, like it really is what it is. Like no need to get up in arms. Like no need to get up in arms about it. We're all fans of the same thing, and like I'm gonna read exactly what he said at the end of Jump, because because people when everyone was freaking out was like the manga is like it wasn't announced that the manga was ending because that mangas are always told hey they're going to end now or within a few weeks. We didn't get that, so people were speculating for a while, and I believe that he really was always planning on doing these multiple routes because yes, despite this being what I feel is the best because it's very all encompassing. Like reading his quote exactly, he said, "Thanks to all of your support, I was able to complete one part of the story with this week's chapter. Starting next week will be the first of four additional parallel stories I have been thinking of for a long time. It's up to you, the reader, to decide which story is the true ending. I would be overjoyed if you would stick with the world of we never learn for just a little while longer." And additional parallel stories is, yes, I might be extrapolate, like, what I might be taking what I want out of this, but, additional and parallel are, like, is very clear language of, hey, we're doing this as extra, not as, you know, it really is I guess it's my thoughts of the Ricky Bobby mentality of if you're not first, you're last, where this is the one that, flows very nicely with the rest of the story, and, it covers everything, versus the other ones will be very wish fulfillment, where they don't necessarily need to cover the same ground of being an ending for everything, if that makes sense. Because if I stopped reading at chapter 150, it's a satisfying ending. Parallel, that's just like hearing the words parallel, additional, it just is like, oh, and that language conveys to me that's extra and unneeded.
Hmm. It's interesting. Yeah, since you used the word parallel, it's a good way to put it. And also along with the lines of the other roots, because that chapter 69, they always had that the one extending the hand out, the girl
Yeah,
extending her hand out. She was always blurred out. So, um, that was I think that was a lot of foreshadow. So,
that plus, and here's another thing. Uh, One last thing to go about the whole, oh, true canon, whatever. The anime. I like as soon as I saw it, I was like, the absolute mad lad didn't, and he had like, and it was like oh yeah, the anime spoiled the ending because people were upset about that as well.
uh,
That's actually where the fan base started to get very angry. Where before everything was chill, after that is when the fan base started. That's when the waifu, the waifu war was always there, but after that is when it started brewing, especially because, like I said, we got 10 chapters of this, and I don't remember if we had the other podcast where we when we recorded it, but it was the I'm not sure if I mentioned that it would have been a waste if, like, all these for him to renege on the whole Uraka, being the end girl, at least for this one. And it turned out that was Ralph's, but that is what it is.
yeah, I believe our last podcast was during the exam arc. Like, or even if it was arc, like how he fell down and then he got to his exam. Um, so,
Yeah, so it was before Uraka's 10 chapter, 10 year.
mhm. um, well, yeah, I do, I do think that the the salt kind of got more toxic around that time the anime ended. So, um,
Yeah, it's basically my thoughts are don't be stupid. Like, you can be upset, but calm down. Like I guess that's my thoughts because, for example, I'm also reading domestic girlfriend, and and it's like this is a whole nother discussion for a whole nother thing. But instead of there being five, like between that, there's only two girls who were genuinely in the running. Because yes, there were others, but it was like, oh, the title's domestic girlfriend, so it was always going to be one of his two stepsisters. And
hmm.
right now we are very, very heavily, very like we're having a Rui ending, and I'm okay with that, I guess.
Oh, oh, but
Black dudes.
oh,
So we're almost done, actually.
Oh yeah,
yes, Leon, I'm sorry.
Did you
it's
did
fine.
you read the chapter?
Well, you mean yeah, I saw it.
Do you have any particular thoughts?
It's whatever. I mean, it's a cop out, honestly.
Oh boy, this is a discussion.
Yeah.
We were just done the discussion too.
Yeah.
Okay, go into your thoughts.
F- my thoughts so far. Well, when I saw it, it's just like everybody has their like sort of like a their ending kind of thing. So it's just like, well, it's whatever. I mean, I guess they give something for everybody. I suppose you know what I mean.
Yeah, like, oh, I guess you're one of those. Like we were discussing it, like how some people were like, oh yeah, this is a cop out because we've already laid out why we think this is actually the true ending, like gone into specific wording and everything, because it's all encompassing. Like that's what you get what I mean.
Yeah. And
So
also, I'm sorry I'm late because I got I was prepping up for my match tomorrow.
it's cool.
Yeah.
But I think one thing to also consider is we haven't really took a glimpse at any of the other parallel routes yet. Let's just see how they turn out, if they how extra they are, or how, I don't know, how tame they are.
Oh, ooh, I know. We can play. Oh, we can. Oh wait. I was talking about. Oh right. Well, before I had an idea, but first I want to finish my thought before I forget it. So like with domestic girlfriend, it's a very hey. There are two girls who are always, two girls in the running, where the animosity is so much closer because it's basically a coin flip. But at this point, we are very, very heavily going towards one ending. Rui's. I'm not going to go into details because that would be spoilers. I'm not happy about that, but you don't see me calling the writer a hack or anything about it. I'm just like, well, if this is how the ending's gonna end, it's fine. Just don't treat Hina like crap, which is what he's doing, but it's not over yet. And like just now, like in the last chapter, it's like, oh yeah, we might be doing some shenanigans. And I'm just like, at this point, no, I don't want shenanigans. I just want everyone to be happy. I don't, it's like I've accepted this. Don't don't try to do some, don't do nonsense for no reason, because the reason Rui seems like she's going to win is pretty big versus something like Bokuben where there was never anything huge like, oh, this life-changing thing happened because of you. Okay, well, everyone's lives were changed for the better, but nothing to the point of, hey, because of this, we need to be together for the rest of our lives versus, yeah, you were a good friend. That's all I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
when it
I
comes to the waifu wars.
yeah, I think it's kind of odd to say that none of the girls or one of the others just had um they're like out of the question to like be a romantic partner. I mean, I like how some people were upset with Uruka. All of them seem to have a chance, but I do think the one with Sensei is a bit stretching it.
Yeah.
Um,
But with that in mind, let's play over under because like sitting on how many chapters can't keep hard yet. Okay, so yeah, we've already laid out the reasons for how many chapters it could be. So I'm going to just recap them really quickly for you. So it's between 2 and 10 chapters for each girl, with the opportunity like with two or with it being either 2, 4 to 5, or 10. 10 being a volume on their own, 4 to 5 being half of a volume, and 2 being the final 4 girls each get 2 more chapters and are all crammed into one volume. So,
Mm.
so let's play over unders. I think they're going. So I think everyone's going to get 4 to 5, and if anyone gets 10, it would be Sensei because of her popularity, and she could sell a volume by herself. So, but if I have to lock in, I'm going to say each girl's going to get 4 to 5. Sensei possibly being the exception. No one else would get 10.
Mm-hmm.
What are your guys' takes?
well, I think what you said is reasonable. I just want one volume per girl though. But I think what you said is more realistic.
Oh, but that's no fun. Why don't you bet and go? Yeah, I'm going to go the high route.
Oh, all right. 2 volumes per girl.
Oh, okay. That's a bet you're not going to win, but I respect it. Leon,
An OVA where he
don't
let's
say
see, like, oh,
don't
what?
say anything that I'll have to censor.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, what? Not anything like messed up. So I'll just keep it like in terms of PG-13. in the OVA sense, decapitate them all and then bring their heads to use as a hole. That's an OVA chapter.
I said not anything I'd have to censor.
That's not. See, I didn't say anything messed up. I did not go against the guidelines. That's not how you reach around. But but anyway,
Dude.
I think for at best he's just gonna, the author's just gonna. I think just like 2 chapters is just being fair for each. To be honest.
So you're taking the low route. But seriously,
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna have to censor what you said because we are a nice family friendly podcast.
I mean, compared to the first one where I just talked about like him having sex with his sister. I don't know.
Also going to censor that.
So.
Or
all right, but
no one listens to this anyway. YouTube doesn't have anything on us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we don't do toy channels yet.
That plus this isn't actually intended for young audiences. This would certainly fall over the 13 guideline for COPA, so screw it. Just don't be too degenerate.
I don't think they haven't enforced COPA at all to other people. Well, they just enforced it on me recently. I mean, I already told you that they did, right? But yeah.
Okay, focus. Does anyone have anything else that they want to say in regards to this?
I thought it was okay overall. It's just like I guess like people would feel like cheaped out because like that last chapter of Rocco felt shorter than what I expected to be.
Well, yeah, like that's why it's an epilogue for everything, which is why I support it as fruit and But you can listen to the rest of the podcast. I don't want to repeat anything I said.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I can get the gist of what you guys would, say because judging from how the conversation went, I feel like it's just there. I mean, it's fine. I like I said, I just read it in like barely even a day, so I was like, whatever to it all.
Yeah. First, but we did talk about how people were like being very rude, death threats, and all of that, and how was not okay.
Oh yeah, me and Mike were talking about that yesterday, weren't we? About the author, was very blunt about it.
He was. Yeah, we've read his quotes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's okay in the end. I mean, it's his manga, so it's not what not like certain someone that we know that wouldn't would swear them off because just because he didn't get what he wanted, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I would say this always about Western fans. They're super entitled. They're being too attached to a series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's whatever. I mean, I'm already used to it because being in from different states of the mind, right? From Western fans to Japanese fans. Oh well, there is some fucked up fans in Japan, but not as to the gravitas of how vocal the Western fans are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just whatever. I mean, the worst you can get is having from Japan is getting death threats via a fax machine. That's about it though. But even then, it's just counted as they'll track it down. But yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think we're good. We've covered the big things. Oh, also, are you happy that you're going to get a Rizu ending?
Me, nah. Overall, when you think about the other chapters previously, right? It just feels like it doesn't do anything for me in the end.
What I'm thinking is if she ends up with Sekijo and any other route, she's probably bi then.
Okay, so my whole thoughts on the whole Sekijo thing is, she, like I said last time, she's always the best fit for Rizu, and because you even see it in chapter 150 where she hasn't changed at all. Where none of them have changed at all, really.
So much for her development.
Well,
I guess that's what they call it. They never learn.
That was this.
Well,
That was another thing. They did this thing at the end of chapter 149.
yeah, they title dropped it.
Yeah. Oh God.
Also,
But-
you don't just wait until the That's another thing. They waited until the epilogue to announce that they were doing multiple routes, where he could have been an absolute mad lad and just gone, "Yeah, we're done here." It's just it's just so many factors. Like, the fact of, okay, we're going into these going, okay, we have more, versus we went into this going, oh, we don't have anything else.
Right.
Which is why the fan base was just the absolute worst, and part of the reason why I hate fandom as a whole. But that's just how fan bases are. Waifu War ones are much worse than most others, but what can you do, right?
Well, how do I say it in a way that doesn't offend anyone?
Offend everyone.
Oh, okay, then
Yeah.
you dickless fuckers. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, like, in the end of the day, like when it comes to waifu wars, it's just like people get way too attached. That's the creepy part about it,
Yeah, they're high school girls, except for Sensei. Well, one was a college. Well, okay, two were adults.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm way past that age, because like I don't feel any attachment to high schoolers, right? So it's just like I don't feel anything. If it's like college girls, fine. I can see how you can relate to there, But well, I mean I get a preferences because there's like college girls in my country that are like fucking 14.
Well, but heck, at this point, like if we were talking about if they were real, Sensei would be the only reasonable choice for any of us here.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, as much as like Rizu's design, right? But that's about it because of my bias. It's just that I still have nothing. Like I never felt attached to any of the characters, but that's because I wasn't there for it weekly, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't there to anticipate or feel for it. I just read it in one binge go. So the overall, it's just like, okay, they're characters, I suppose,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think Sensei's sister should replace Sensei. Yeah.
I don't know. All the Sensei fans are gonna come after you.
Whoa, but she's like the combination of like, a little sister, but not his little sister. Older, female, college, and figure skating. It's like, this amalgamation of godlikeness.
So she's the Uber waifu.
But yeah, I don't see it happening.
I am kind of sad that we aren't getting a what's her face route. Well, I also wanted a Sekichao route and a Miharu route, and what's his sister's name again?
Oh, yeah, drawing a blank. She's just Imoto to me.
She's such a good character.
Nope, no, I don't remember.
I think she's an okay sister. I mean, at least you get like foresight, what kind of person he is with his family without explicitly, over beating you over the head with it.
Mizuki, was that it?
Yeah, I feel so. I like Mizuki because she falls under my Emoto criteria of yes, if she has more of a personality trait than just loving her older brother. Yes, she cares about her older brother, but to a creepy degree, like a lot of Emotos. But I feel like she does add to the story because it reflects how Yuga's family situation, how things turned out after his dad died. So it was a matter of, okay, she adds to the story versus she's not just filler to be we have an Emoto. Like, if you pass that test, then you get what I mean? That's my test of, do they enrich the story beyond being, I love my older brother or sister?
Yeah, I guess I don't remember if you also made this statement in previous podcasts, but it's good to reiterate in case whoever's watching can get a refresher.
I would never get into Moto types.
Oh,
Like I said, it's less the Emoto and more of it.
Unless it's the stepsister type. No.
We can do a domestic girlfriend podcast if you guys like.
I gotta read that. I gotta reread everything again, but I got to do it in like slower pace because I can feel for it. I guess.
Well, instead, I think we're basically done with this. And are you still down for the other project the anime one that we mentioned? Because I would love to do a podcast on that. And then,
Oh yeah. I just said I gotta sort out my MMA stuff first.
Oh no, that's no problem. So do you mind if I announce it to the good people?
Oh yeah, good. Go on, my good man.
So, if anyone's listening,
oh wait. While we're at it, we can talk about Castlevania too, right?
Oh yeah. When Castlevania. Oh, do you want to do a Castlevania podcast?
Oh, dude. I mean, I want to say I want to use your forte to yours as a conduit for for multiple shows actually, and not only manga, so we can have more topics to talk about.
Oh, cool. I'm down to talk Castlevania. I thought you were going to say, because I was going to say Castlevania D&D is going to be back when that's back on the channel, but screw it. Yeah, we can talk Castlevania at some point.
Mike, you got to watch it. And then also Paradise PD eventually.
Well, Castlevania is not going to. Well, Castlevania could be the next one. Okay, so I guess the next thing that we're going to discuss is either going to. But what I was going to say is interspecies reviewers, because oh boy, that is a trip, and I just want to talk about it.
Did
And
they finally do the doo-doo episode like you said?
Huh?
The doo-doo episode?
Dude, no.
You said they did sort of something related to scat.
Ugh, egg laying.
Okay. Well, we'll discuss it. But let's just end the podcast since it's still recording.
I wanted to talk about the show as a whole, and thanks for reminding me that happened. But yeah, we are definitely out of copper range now. Thanks, Leon.
I mean,
But yeah, so I guess the next podcast on this channel, if it's not Castlevania, because I'm sorry guys, High School Hijinks is just we've given up on recording that one. So the next podcast is either going to be the Return to Castlevania whenever that happens, a Castlevania show podcast, or an interspecies reviewers podcast, or screw it, it might be a game podcast for something that we're all playing. Like I'm sure we're all playing Mega Man Zero Collection right now.
besides Mike, fucking poop loser.
Well, plenty of people are playing it, so we could grab someone else, potentially. Like Nick's playing it.
Yeah, but he doesn't ever want to go on a podcast.
Well, we'll convince him.
Okay, I'll have to send him more on Ayami Naka. Oh, well, we'll discuss that after the podcast. We'll keep it PG-13 for now.
You've already dropped multiple F-bombs, and you said an S word that makes me sick to my stomach. We've lost PG-13, man.
Oh, all right, then next is Scat Eater. So we'll send Scat stuff later.
We're not sending him that.
Mike, well, he did that to me last time, and then I sent it to my mom-in-law by accident. You piece of crap.
Okay, we're ending this podcast. We've gone on a tangent.
All right, later, everyone.
You didn't sign in, so you don't need to sign out. That was the artist formerly known as Leon, and Fang
signing out.
And Hiroke signing out. Thank you for listening if you listened. Also, if you listened, I'm so sorry.